Mighty. Mighty.
Yeah, in this dream world and
I'm just gonna get you, bro, more.
Heard of Left Hook Leon.
Not just a killer
Hey, kia ora everybody, hey, welcome back to The Outsiders. It's us again, brothers talking Nationhood matters.
That's right.
And this is episode what?
Number 8.
Number 8.
Episode number 8. And did you know the meaning of 8 means to have a bright date? So if you got mahin out there, take them out on a date.
That's one side, and the other side is number 8 means stay straight.
That's it. Mighty. Mighty.
Yeah.
Hey, nevertheless, whānau, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that poetic episode. If you haven't tuned in yet, man, go up to our YouTube page, like, follow, subscribe, and we had such a great time with the brother, and we've done a few podcasts, and the bro was real, man, and I guess we've got some guests that are coming on set in the next coming weeks, for the next 6-7 weeks, that I believe will also share their journey and will give you some insight around our hood.
Yeah, one thing about the people that are coming on from here on in is they're real, they're raw, and it's uncut. You get what you're given, you get what you're given, and they bring nothing but the truth. So you got to be ready, need a taringa whakarongo to everything you're about to share.
Yeah.
And so, what have you been up to, brother?
Yeah, like the brother said, if you don't already know, I hope you already know, because we've been pushing it and we've been out there. This is week 4. Week 4 of our 100,000 challenge. 100,000 followers, 100,000
followers, 100,000 deliveries.
And 1,000 kids present. And we've got some exciting clips that we'll bring to you in the coming episodes around how we've been collecting these presents. And shout out to all of those that have already given, supported, and total run that up at the moment.
Yes. So if you haven't, but you want to support the cause, get in touch with us, DM the pages, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and surely someone will get back to you. But let's cut to it.
Let's cut to it. You know what? Shout out to this man here and his team. They were out there collecting up some bags, boxing bags, collecting up some resources for the mahi that you're doing at the moment. Tell our people a little bit about that mahi.
Yeah, so hey, I've got the honours to work with our youth in the youth space, and hey, I'm no boxing coach, but if I can teach them character, hey, stand up in front of me, look me in the eye and tell me your name, then we're winning.
Wow. And how did you start that initiative?
I just called up to the young fellas that were throwing stones at the cars on the streets and I just asked them, do they want to get into some training? And they said yes, so I said, go home.
You didn't pull up and say, do you want to hide him?
No, I'm a lover. But no, that was it. I said, go home, tell your mum to ring me, and then made something out of nothing.
As simple as that. And he was obviously in front of Shane Cameron, he was in front of West Coast Fitness. But nevertheless, it's as simple as that. I know we can bitch and moan around about what's happening around us, but let's be a solution. And we hope with this platform we can help our men to front foot the solutions and be a solution in our own homes. What's up?
Today, you've heard of Left Hook Leon. You've heard of all these other, are they called fighters?
I don't know.
Nah, well anyway family, today we have a special guest with us, all the way from the West Side baby.
As you said, Myth Capital, Myth.
Yeah, that sounds.
But yeah, we've got our brother here. I first met him before we bring him on set. We did the security gig, and I got an alert to my comm saying, hey, there's this guy right in front of the pack, right in front, he's leaning on his knees. And then I went to look at, I was like, damn, he's massive. Looked up, damn, who the heck is that? Because he just looked like he was going to beat us all up. But nevertheless, the last 3-4 years, I've got to build a good relationship, get to know the man, and it's our honor today to have him on set for you to enjoy our brother Steve, Mr. Oliver.
What's up, boys? Good to be here.
Hey, my brother. Hey, you've been around the world, my bro. You've achieved a lot, my bro. But let our people know just a little bit about you, your family, and who are you, my brother?
Yeah, I mean, I was born and raised out west. My father was Don Oliver, who was a successful lifter. back in the 60s, 70s. And he started a chain of gyms, and he also made weights, which went global. They were shipping all around the world at the time, so it turned into a big deal. And I was just brought up in the gym. My father was super motivated and focused, so he was off doing his thing, and I was just basically brought up on the gym floor. My mum was working reception, and I would come home from school and stay in the gym till basically bedtime, just hanging around. I was blessed to be hanging around good people. I mean, I had sportsmen and guys to look up to. My father was the Olympic coach for lifting through my early years, so I see these monsters and the smell of liniment, and just, it was just, mate, I was hooked, from an early age, and left in the gym to my own devices. And everybody, they'd say, "Oh, you're strong for your age," and I just lived in this dream world that I was, superhumanly strong and doing stuff all wrong, just getting under stupid weights, and I'm paying the price now. I've just had, some major shoulder surgery, and but it was good, it was a good way to grow up. I was, had goals, and that was basically my life's ambition, was to be a world champion, and at first it started...
What were one of the biggest triumphs in your upbringing, can you recall? Because we'll get to your father later, we'll get to a lot of that, but just what's one of your greatest triumphs you can...
I wrestled from a young age, and we were always competitive. I wrestled, and then I was into lifting from quite a young age, obviously left in the gym, so I was lifting, I went to World, so I got second biggest bench in the world for my weight division, and I took third overall, first Kiwi ever to take a placement as a junior. And then I was doing well as a lifter, but then after 22 my father died, and I got a bit lost. I was a little bit lost. I'd just been super dedicated to the lifting, and it lost its appeal, and I was getting too big. I was asthmatic at the time, so I was getting unhealthy. So then I just seen a pirated DVD or a cassette tape or something back in the day of this cage fighting. I was just like, because I'd wrestled, and my grandfather was a boxing coach, so we had a little bit of hands in the family. So I felt like when I was wrestling, I wanted to punch, and when I was boxing, I wanted to wrestle. So I just seen this cage fighting. I was like, bro, that's us right there. I love that, So I went on a bit of a mission around just looking for jiu-jitsu, this Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and there was no one doing it. And it just so happened that I went to a gym, and they said, "Oh, actually, there's a Brazilian guy turning up next week." So it was just meant to be, So I started training jiu-jitsu for about 8-9 months, and then he left. He was a Brazilian guy, left. He was one of the first Brazilians in the country. He left for overseas, and I just said, "Well, what do we do?" He just says, "Oh, you go and see my coach." So that was the legendary Hickson Gracie.
Wow.
400 wins, no losses, just an absolute savage, So I went to
Hickson
LA.
Gracie.
So I went to
He'll
LA.
remember me too. We're at the same level.
Yeah,
That's the one that cried.
So then I just shot off to, my father had died, and I just felt like I could do it, and shot off to LA and stayed 10 years over there, on and off, coming backwards and forwards to train over there, and just went from there, just trained over there for a long time, then went to Australia, went to Brazil for a short stint, and then just come back home as a brown belt. Got my black belt. I'd always had the gym. I'd go over, and then I'd come back home and teach my cousin and some close friends that were keeping the gym going here. And I just came back home at brown belt and started the gym full time. So just bring it and share it back to the hood, really.
We're going to get more in depth about that later, because I can see your father had a big impact on your upbringing. As you mentioned, at 22 years old, your whole world was, I guess you saw outside of the gym because your father wasn't there. But let's talk about your family. Like, I hear you got some beautiful kids, your wife,
Yeah.
How's that?
Amazing. It's best, honestly, I've had kids early and I've had kids late, and as I was younger, they just got to really just adapt and keep up, and the focus isn't really on them. It's on who you are and what you want to achieve. But now it's all on them. My focus is on them. So it's just been a real blessing. I'm having a family late. I've got my youngest. She just left kindy this term and gone to school. So we've first time for a long time. We've got kids that aren't in kindy. They're all in school. So good times, But just epic, And the main difference really is that back in the day, I'd always, we discipline our kids. We tell them off and we let them know what's expected. But what I find now is I've always double back. I'll tell them off, send them to their room. Back in the day, I'd say, okay, you're allowed to come out now, but there would be no touching on what went on. So now I go to their room, we talk it through, explain, hey, I don't want to discipline you, but this is unacceptable, and finish it with a hug, and then we go out and everybody's good. So that's probably the main point that I do now that I think is a game changer. Is just circling back all the time.
Something he can learn too. He sits in the room for weeks.
What is something that you were taught that I guess you teach your kids now?
Yeah, I mean, my family has always been a high achiever, so they always, we've got world class athletes as golfers, runners. My father was a lifter. The whole family is diverse in its skill set, but they've always been disciplined, And when my father died, one of the main things he said was just be honest, So you can live by that, live by that. Are you training your best? Be honest, Are you eating the best you can eat? Be honest, Just with this be honest thing, it's I think it's a real key factor, And we grew up in the church, so I think I went on a bit of a mission, as you do as you grow up in the church. You just think, oh yeah, that's nice and all, but that's not making sense to me. And then as you progress, as you see those principles play out, and actually make sense, you come back as you get older, and we really implement that through the kids, and I just see a blessing through the kids and through our life, going to church and that lifestyle.
Nice.
Before we get into a quick fire, because we're going to be coming to you with Welcome to Our Hood, which is the main segment of our podcast with all our guests. And before we get to our quick fire, I guess one question that I want to share, that I want to ask you, Steve, is what's one of the greatest notable, fighters or experiences that you've had come through your gym under your tutoring? What's the word? Tutelage?
Yeah.
So is that the word? Tutelage. Not testicality. That you've had come through, and that you've had such a, I guess, vice versa impact on. You've helped him, but he's helped you grow as a man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many have actually helped me, but we've had heaps of good kids come through the gym, bro. One of our best boys at the moment is JJ Wilson. He's the kid came in. He didn't even want to come in. He was living under a bridge. He was like legit homeless and had a horrible family situation. But his mate brought him in, and he just said, "Hey, bro, you want to come into the gym for a free session?" And he's like, "Nah." He says, "I'll buy you a $1 bag of lollies," So he bought him a bag of lollies. He came in, his mate left, but Jay never left, Jay stayed. He, I could see this guy just kept coming, and we threw him in a couple of tournaments, and he done well. And then he started living in the attic at a gym, and then we helped him to get over to this Aussie first, and he done really well in Aussie, and I could see the potential in the kids, so I had contacts through my time in the States, so I just sent him over to a good boy in San Diego, and Johnny Faria over in San Diego, and Jay got his black belt, and he's gone on to MMA and doing great things, so he's fighting for PFL at the moment under Ray Sefu, so yeah, he's doing good things, man. So yeah, kid's just just resilient, he always gives it 100%, and yeah, it's just a real testament to his resilience and mindset, you know. And we've helped him build that, you know. Back in the day, I seen a lot of guys do well in New Zealand, but when they went overseas, they would cave mentally, you know. So we had this program, an elite camp, you know. We'd get all the best guys in the country come together for 2 or 3 days, and we just drop the hammer on these guys, you know. We'd get them rolling, you know. They'd do technique for hours, they'd roll for hours, and then a couple of years we had one of the boys of the Navy, he had their high level mud run. So we'd drop the hammer on these guys for 2 days, and then at the end of it they'd do that Navy SEAL mud run out over at the barracks over there, and just
Sounds
prepare.
easy.
Yeah. Just prepare these guys mentally, because when they go offshore, you know, fundamentally they've got good solid foundations, but you know, it's that just being able to persist and stay in there that's gonna get them over the line, and it's really paid off with him, especially, you know.
Awesome.
Over to you, brother. Quick fire.
Brother, we've got a few questions here, quick fire questions. They're always, they're always the highlight of the podcast. But I'll get into it. Hangi or seafood?
Seafood.
Why?
It's just the best, bro. It's the best. It's just protein all day, no carbs.
It's
I
not
like
against you, bro, Moldy.
Yeah. Just no
Alright,
carbs,
brother.
no carbs. That's what I like about it.
Stand and bang or jiu-jitsu?
Bro, jiu-jitsu, but it's a hardcore.
Yeah. If there was a superpower strength, what strength would it be? Would it be the strength of Hulk or the speed of Flash?
I'd have to go Hulk, bro.
Finish the sentence, brother. A true martial artist is
Discipline.
discipline. Nice.
Nice. And have you heard of gold belt?
Old belt.
Gold.
Gold?
You got brown and black. Have you ever seen gold?
No.
Yeah, and I'll show you after. Got some
Yeah,
training
yeah,
lessons.
yeah.
If there's anyone out there needs some
Yeah.
training, I'll be running free classes.
Epic.
I've got this last question for you, brother. I didn't want to do it, but I'll do it.
Do it.
Who would you have in your corner for your fight in a tag team? Ray Sifu
Sifu.
or Mark Hunt? Ray Sifu or Mark Hunt?
Sorry, Ray.
So there's a quick fire. Shout out to Mark Hunt too, because I believe he's on our upcoming episodes, eh?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Thanks to Steve.
Is it?
Hey, fams, you got a little insight, only a little insight of the Steve Oliver, man. Get down and support their gym. They run events all around the country, and if you want your kids involved, obviously the Oliver name's big.
Yeah.
But presently in front of us is our brother Steve. But we're gonna move on to welcome to our hood.
Welcome
Our
to the
5
hood.
hoods.
And
But,
just give them a rundown on what those hoods are, brother.
Hey, the first hood being Nationhood, the second hood being Manhood, third hood being Fatherhood, the second hood being Neighbourhood, and the last hood being something that you'll hear, because you got to stay right through to the end to hear what that hood's all about.
Let's get to it, brother.
Let's get to it. Yeah, brother Steve, straight to the First Nation hood. If you were the Prime Minister, presently, currently, what are some of the things that you address, change, or you'll implement in this world of Aotearoa?
Yeah, just good fundamental basics through our kids are the key. You know, get all this confusion out of their teaching. You know, just fundamental basics, and teach them good stuff. You know, I mean, they should be. You know, I think physical. I think they should be doing more. You know, developmental stuff in sports and stuff like that. Push them hard. You know.
Would you bring that into the schools?
Yeah, 100%. You know, decent program. Jiu-jitsu been implemented
Wow.
massively around the world.
Prime Minister
Dubai.
Steve Oliver wants jiu-jitsu in all the schools.
Yeah, 100%.
Well,
There's
wasn't
no
he?
brain damage. You know, it's not like boxing where you're taking shots early days. And it's a great way to discipline the kids. They turn up and be resilient, you know. Losing isn't the end of it. You know, losing's just the beginning. Losing's a good opportunity to take a lesson, you know. But most people these days, they haven't got the skills to deal with a loss. You know, jiu-jitsu is a great tool to teach the kids coming through that a loss isn't the end of the movie. It's just an opportunity to learn. So, yeah, I'd implement that through the schools. I'd cut tax. You know, I just do that. No income tax, just a 2% on every purchase. You know, so you purchase a house, 2%. But if you don't want to spend, you can save. You can save 100% of your money. I mean, people don't know this, but the New Zealand and Aussie and the States never had an income tax before World War One. They implemented a 2% income tax in World War One. After 2 years, they'd made so much money, they canned it. Then World War Two came in, they implemented the 3% income tax, and it's just gone skyward from there. And what have we got for it? All we've got is just an absolute, culture and, thousands of people ruling the country, walking around in suits, shuffling bits of paper around, and giving themselves pay rises. And, they're not doing anything. They're bankrupting our country.
Yeah.
Every country in the Western world's horribly run. I mean, mate, if they run a business like that, every business would be bankrupt. But they wear suits and they act like they know what they're doing. But man, I don't know.
Giving each other pay rises, eh?
Bro, it's a joke. And all their answer for everything. I just saw another one. Labor want to implement a capital gains tax. Their answer for everything, it's not look at their spending. It's not get accountability into Parliament. It's about just tax the working man.
Yeah.
That's their answer for everything.
I seen one this morning. Our current, I think it might be Labour or one of them, want to give free doctors.
Yeah.
But every time I hear free, I think it's an insult on those who just want free. And I think also it's a just shifting of the chairs on the Titanic.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah, bro.
And when you're talking about 2% back then to now 35% tax.
Yeah. Plus, and then you pay tax at the pump.
Yeah.
Then you pay your rates. Then you got GST. Right. We're getting taxed. I mean, I remember back in the 90s, my father was paying 22% interest on all his loans. 22% interest, phenomenal. We're not paying 22% interest now, but we're taxed so hard. I mean, at 22%, they were still able to get ahead.
Yeah.
They were still able to pay their loan off and have a house. If they'd have their own family home and get ahead in life.
Yeah.
We're not paying 22%, but we're taxed into extinction. Basically,
You've got me all rattled at the moment because I own a mortgage.
Yeah.
And you miss a payment, you get taxed on that.
Yeah, bro.
And you get added interest on that, and you start building this debt
bro.
base whereby you can't even pay the primary.
Yeah.
But Prime Minister Steve Oliver has got us all awoken to let's get involved and whatever that is. But hey, that's Nationhood. The Prime Minister Steve Oliver wants to sort out the tax system. Over to you, mate.
Manhood. Brother, we've asked this question out to our audience. Why do our people stay silent in their struggles?
I think it's a shame thing, no one wants to own up to struggles. I mean, we're all the same, when people are struggling, especially, with this current, pandemic of people harming themselves. They're not, the guy that's actually struggling is the one that doesn't talk, I see these campaigns just talk, bro, that's all good, but when they, when the people are really dark, they're putting on the face, bro, they're putting on whatever mask is the best at the time, just to make sure people don't see, because they haven't got the energy to talk. So it's a shame thing, but I think we just got to build our kids strong. We've got to teach them that there is, bro, it's not the end. You want to make a mistake, you want to finish it, and you think it's just going to be lullabies and darkness. What if it's not? You know what I mean? So I think we've got to get back to just basics, man. Just teach our kids that that people have got a purpose. We've got a purpose, man. We've got a purpose to look after our family. We've got a purpose to give a legacy to our kids. We've got to, as a man, we've got to protect our kids. This world's not getting any easier. And us. I just think it's a shame thing. I think. I don't know. I think there's a lot of factors. Entitlement. I should. This victim mentality. I think's got a lot to answer for. It's not my fault. It's everyone else's fault. And I'm going to throw a tantrum because I believe it's not my fault. But we've got to own our own shortcomings and get take a little bit of responsibility for our lives.
I think what you said, like a lot of the brothers. There's a taboo topic, but it's a real one. It's suicide. Like you said it. You said like sometimes they're just too afraid to share because of, I guess, the victim mentality. But at the same time too, when it's too late, what could we have done? And I guess you said it. Building our kids to understand that they can talk to a trusted person. And you are right in the sense of doubling back. Back then you shared about doubling back. It's not only punishing the kid, but teaching the kid why they're being punished.
And be able to take a lesson.
Yeah.
You know, I think the martial arts are great like that, you know, bro. Like we do tournaments, we roll the tournaments out from 5 years old, 4 years, some of the kids are 4 in there, you know. And you see the kids, it's all tears and it's all, you know, it's pretty emotional stuff. But mate, they mature overnight. They mature overnight, and then they realise, man, I didn't die. You know, I lost, but I didn't die. How can I do it better? You know what I mean? And the biggest mindset problem that I see, you know, it's not just with the kids, this is with adults. This is with, I'll tell you, this is the most hindering. This is the biggest factor that I see hindering a lot of adults. Even is blaming. It's not my fault. It's the, you know, I see it even on the mat day to day. They have a dispute. Someone has a dispute with someone else, you know, but actually if you actually look at it, they're losing to that person, you know. Why are you losing? But 9 times out of 10 they're losing to the same submission. So okay, it's not a personal thing, it's actually that you don't like losing. So rather than taking it personal, you've got to see, hey, how are you losing? Okay, you're getting armbarred. How do you defend the armbar? You know, let's break it right down. How do you defend the so now let's take a lesson out of it. Get your arm bars better. Then when you fight, you don't lose to this kid all the time. Then it doesn't seem like it's a big issue anymore, you know. And that's the same with people, you know. It's not my fault. It's the referee's fault. Not my fault. It's my dad's fault. Not my fault. Generation past, bro. I think it's horrible. I think it's the biggest thing we deal with, you know, is this victim mentality. We just got to own it and just take a lesson out of it and better ourselves, you know. It's a hard life, man, you know.
But what does a struggle day or a hard day look like for Steve Oliver?
Bro, if there's drama, you know, I can attack everything, but if there's drama at home, you know, especially with the kids, if things aren't going well with the kids, if there's conflict in the house, it's pretty, just sets me off, you know. Just everything else seems to spiral off, you know, off the family, the household. So I try and do our bit to keep the kids happy, always see them off to school happy, you know, and it all starts at home, you know, for me.
I'm taking a lot too, just from hearing you and your interest as a father to your kids, because we can also learn as hosts too. Like, hey, that's the beautiful thing about this platform. Like, we're not interrogating, we're interested in wanting to learn.
That's the way, bro. That's the way. We all learn from each other, right?
Yeah. Fatherhood,
brother, over to you.
This question here, I shared with you before, but I heard you really touch on it throughout our conversation. You were talking about, 22 years old, even your father being absent. But the question is, how was your upbringing with your father, and how was a lot of those fathering lessons, I guess, being duplicated or being implemented today in you as a father?
Yeah, I mean, my father was motivated, you know, and he was a high achiever, so I always, was motivated by that, you know. But I'll be honest, he was so motivated that he was quite absent in my youth. And he was a super high achiever, so my mum was at home, you know, and she was quite overwhelmed by his, and I can relate to this myself, you know, when the man is pushing hard, the woman's got to keep up the work at home and fill in the gaps. And my mum went through probably a phase of always being in the room crying, you know, because she was...
So when you say high achiever, focus, what does that mean? He was building a gym?
Yeah, he started the business. He went from lifting to the business, right? So he was off conquering the world, you know, for the best for us, for our future. But the thing is, he was absent. So then my mum had to fill in the gaps at home, and she got quite depressed, and she was quite often at home in the room crying. So I knew if Dad comes home and she's in the room crying, I better not be here, bro. So I was out, you know. So I was out just doing my own thing forever, and then he came back when I was about 13 and tried to, you know, install some discipline in me, and I was too far gone. You know, I just didn't really have a connection with him, so it just turned into a war zone. But then, you know, he died when I was, you know, early 20s, and then, you know, I went through life myself, and now I'm a dad and running a business, and I get it. I understand exactly where he was at. You know what I mean? And it's a I've got to pull myself back all the time because I've seen it, how it goes wrong. And he was so driven that he died of cancer, just stressed out. You know, I mean, like early 50s, just cancer. You know, it was actual prostate cancer that got him. You know, so I've seen how business and driven can go bad. You know, so I try to pull out of that, and I'm the same. I get motivated. I want to conquer the whole. You know, just take over the world, but you've got a family that's got to try and fill in the gaps at home, so I'm conscious of coming back and touching base at home and trying to keep a balance.
What's the most memorable moment that you have of your father, brother?
Probably with him dying, you know, to be honest, just that, you know, that's probably the first time we'd actually connected, you know, and he telling me, he just said, "Bro," you know, I heard, you know, it was the first time for a long time that we'd ever even sat in the same room, so he just wanted the business was a waste of time, you know, at that stage of life. He was like, just bro, just sell that business, it's just, you know, just a burden, you know, and be honest, you know, with that bit of advice, just be honest with yourself, be honest with those around you, and, you know, so that was probably the main memory I have of my dad, you know.
So it's like, you know, you can accumulate so much wealth and material on this side, but at the deathbed, it's really the defining factor is how important that all was, eh?
You find out too late. A lot of people find it. We all do. We all, you know, I mean, that's just the way of the world, isn't it? I mean, there's not too much, you know, and it's by design, right? You know, we're so busy achieving, man, and we got to pay the rent. We got all these overheads. We're just scrambling to try and make the dollars, but at the end of the day, dollars don't mean nothing, bro. Because when you get the phone call and sitting around with your whānau, you know, it's all about relationships and how you've spent your life with your kids, and that's the wealth, eh? That's the wealth. All this other flash car, house, bro, burn it down, bro. You know, it's kids.
Burn it down, mate. No, that was awesome to have a little insight of just your upbringing, brother. And yeah, I think just for, I guess, a lot of us that are listening, man, whatever you're doing, just make sure that for me it's just make it right before it's too late. Yeah, thank you for that, Steve.
And the value of being a father, right? Like, so important because what we are is what our kids become, and how we build up a home, and things that you think you're hiding inside you is still in the home, still in the atmosphere, and it's just sad. I would say sad to hear that your most memorable moment was at the deathbed. It's pretty sad, and hey, you're here now, greater man. Definitely seeing you, and I guess that's what fathering's done. You know, it's helped you to become a better father, and being aware of what you don't want to repeat. Neighbourhood, my man.
Neighbourhood, my brother. You from the west side? What's happening in our neighbourhoods, brother? What's happening on the west side?
No, it's not good, eh? You know, it's not good. But you know, we just got our gym out west, and we try and create a safe place for safe culture for the kids. You know, we give them goals and try and make them proud of their achievements, and you know, show them role models. You know, to you know, with the kids coming through, the older kids, the men, you know, the fighters there. Give them good role models, and just show them that, you know, a good life is something. Is an adventure. You know, is to set goals. You know, this is where we rob ourselves of this victim mentality. You know, they just sit back and it's not my fault and just give me the paycheck. You know, goals are the key drivers, and especially in a man's life. You know what I mean? Is just achieve and to win. You know what I mean? And it used to be all sportsmen. Now it's these guys on social media with pink hair jumping out of cakes. You know, our kids look to this mess. You know, these influence guys, and they got, you know, the adults, and they got bodies of 12-year-old boys.
Yeah.
And that's what's influencing my kid.
Yeah.
We need to get back to some hearty role models for our kids that are actually men.
I guess the neighbourhood question is like, how is a neighbourhood from when you were coming up different to the neighbourhood now?
It's
What's the big
unrecognisable,
change?
Unrecognisable, bro. We used to be safe enough. We'd be on you know, like I told you, you know, I'd be out of the house because that wasn't ideal. So I'd be on a BMX, man, to all hours, you know, and we could do that, you know. I can't even let my kids go up the shop, you know, honestly, I wouldn't trust it. So just the security factors just dropped. You know, like us having good solid role models. Kids are losing that, you know, they're on their tablets, they're not, you know, getting outside and getting amongst it and grounding and, you know, just socialising together. It's quite a sad thing that's happened to our culture, you know, and that's what we try to do with the gym, is try and bring that back a little bit.
Beautiful.
There's a lot of, I guess, stigma around the west side of Auckland, and you know, it's all to do with whatever the media puts out there, drugs, gangs. But there's also the other flip side, and that's what you're doing, brother. Creating a safe space for our rangatahi, our youth, not even just our youth, even the men, you know. I know they can be a safe place for them too, but...
Yeah, 100%. No, it's just the family, you know, we got a lot of families that compete, you know, the dad, you know, the kids, all competing in the same tournament. So it's great to see, you know, that's what we do it for, is just to try and bring families together. And, you know, they can achieve their goals and dreams, and yeah, that's it, bro.
Beautiful, and I know like the neighbourhoods now quite multicultural now, but I've never ever grown up in West, so I don't know anything about West. If you could say West of the world, what will it be, brother?
Bro, like I said, we lived on site at the gym, and my best friend, his dad was full Samoan, George Simon, just lived over the road, so I'd be at their house, you know, so it was like my adopted dad was full Samoan, you know, green bananas, coconut cream, the full deal. So, you know, I grew up and I went to Kelston Boys. There's only a couple of Palangis in the whole class, you know. It was all Maoris and Samoans, and that was just, that was normal, right? You know, I never thought anything of it. We'd always get hammered, you know, we'd get picked on and all the rest, but who didn't, you know? If that guy's got cross-eyed, he's cross-eyed. If you've got a beak, you got a beak. If you're a Palangi, you're a Palangi, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't anything racist, it was just good hearty bullying, you know? but you know, it makes you stronger, bro, you know, it makes you stronger. You just can't run all the time, you got to just stand there sometimes and just deal with life, you know what I mean? But no, it's just multicultural, bro. You know, I loved it growing up, and good solid friends, and that's what we're lacking these days, you know, is the old just good neighbours, good friends. None of this victim, you know, everybody else's fault, and it's these guys' fault, and the racism creeping in. It's just nonsense, you know.
I got a brand. If you wanna be hearty, bully hearty.
Or get bullied, eh? Get bullied, eh?
Unless they won't come across well with all the PC fellas out there.
Yeah, you won't fly with the safe space, eh?
Man, we're into our last hood, and hey, there's many flags being flown out there. There's many I guess marches and opinions and ideologies, and in the nation, that I was quite alarmed when I looked at the stat. They said 51% don't believe that there's a God.
Yeah.
In New Zealand, you know, and that then tells me in New Zealand, the God of no religion is far superior than your God. Who is your God? Tell us about this Godhood, you know, for you and this nation. How important is God, just to anyone, you know, or just to yourself, or let us know about how your world is around your God.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, everybody these days, if you're religious, you're a bit of a weirdo, you know, or you're the niche. It hasn't been like that in all history combined, the West is the only culture or civilization that hasn't believed in a higher power since like 1920, since evolution really got stamped on the West. Every other culture in history has believed in the higher power.
Yeah.
So if you don't believe in God, actually, bro, you're the weirdo. You know what I mean? Because everyone else does, and in their heart they do. You know, this is some sort of accent. You know, and I just believe, man, you just see biblically the principles are just, you know, from my experience, just ring true. You know, if you don't like, if you set all these principles and you follow them, good things will follow you the whole of your life. You know, if you want to steal, if you want to murder, if you want to do, you know, play up sexually, all that, there's consequences, bro. You know, and the thing is, everyone thinks this God up there is just this big guy with a hammer, just trying to hammer people. But actually, if you look at the principles, it's actually those laws and stuff have been set so we actually thrive. You know, it's set so we don't, so we have a good life. You know, well, it's done out of love. It's not done out of you can't do this, you can't do that, just trying to you know, give me a bad buzz. It's actually, those principles are set for a purpose so that we actually thrive. You know, we look after, respect each other. You know, we don't play out. We just, you know, like have a good, solid life. Just good, you know, good life with each other, respectful, and I've just seen those principles play out in my life. You know, and I grew up in the church, but the church was pretty hardcore. I'll be honest. You know, and it was pretty judgmental, you know, and this is where we get it wrong. It was all about you're going to hell if you don't do it, you know, and I just thought, bro, if I'm going to hell, it sounds like I'm going to hell. I'm going to at least have a good life, you know, and that's the attitude I had. So I disappeared, and Dad died, and all the rest of it. I just went out into the world, and my whole mission in life was to be a world champion, you know, and it led me down all these paths, and I got to the top, you know, the top echelon in lifting and the fighting world, and I get to see these guys that you would think that had it all locked in. You know, they're world champions, they're legends. Bro, you look at their lives, their kids hate them, they got 5 wives, they got a miserable life, bro. You know, it's just like, bro, that's not what I thought it would be. You know what I mean? It just and that started to really ring true to me, and then I started to think, I just, you know, this guy that God, my father talked about. Let's have a look. And I was living in the house, the family house, and it was empty. I was just staying there at the time when I came back home, and he had an old Bible. Then I started pulling out this Bible, bro. Honestly, every time I pulled this Bible out, because he had highlighted verses.
What Bible is that? There's many versions of Bibles at the moment.
King James, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just
the
old
Holy
school.
Bible?
Yeah,
Jesus Bible?
Yeah, that's it, bro. So I just, every time I pulled it out, there'd be a verse there, bro, and it was just like talking straight to me, bro. It was, you know, and it's just too much, bro. It's just too much coincidence, you know, to say that this is all a big fluke. You know, we've got to think, you know, evolution is a scam, you know what I mean, 100%. You know, where's all the talking monkeys? Where's all the, you know, there's monkeys and then there's man. Where's all the ones in between, you know, on everything?
He's the ape. Small ape.
You know, like, it's just nonsense, bro. You know, but we've been fed this lie, and people go to, you know, people have are deceived, you know, and all these things that are happening in the world, you know, are all massive amounts of coincidence. In the end, there's so many coincidences. It takes more faith to believe that it's not real than to actually say, hey, bro, there's too many coincidences. I believe it, and that's where I got to. Man, I'm trying to disprove this thing, but there's so many things that line up, I can't deny it anymore. Yeah, I'm in, you know. So that's where I got to, and I just got in, and then you could just feel, instead of that, you know, which is most people's perception, is that God's this guy that just wants to kill their buzz. It's this God that just actually is the only religion that God comes to you. Every other religion, you've got to go to God. You know, you've got to earn your way to heaven. Christianity and Christ is the only religion that God actually comes to you. You know what I mean?
Wow.
It's there's nothing like it, bro. And there's, you know, like we can see our leadership through the world just corrupt. They'd sell their mother for the right price, you know. But you got this King of Kings that would actually come down and take it for the team, bro.
Hallelujah!
Oh, bro, if there's a leader like that, I'll bend the knee to that. Yeah, I'm in, bro. Undies. You know, all these leaders are just a
Just start a church, mate. Started the pastor.
hey, this goes.
It's amazing.
But yeah, bro, no, and it's just good. It's just good. It's just good, solid foundations to bring a family up. It's just good life, you know. Just and once again, it brings discipline back into not just training, but life. You know, almost you're accountable to every interaction. You know, you try and. You know, I'm not perfect, bro. Not every interaction's positive. You know what I mean? But
laying on of hands.
I try, bro. I try to be a good influence on every interaction. You know, try and bring the light and joy to people on every interaction. It's just a good buzz, bro. You know, it really is.
Brother, where do we go from there? Hey, damn. Beautiful insight, brother.
And I think just all those that may be watching, we're gonna have a Muslim sitting there. We're gonna have people from different circles and spheres that we want to give our viewers just a broad view on conversation and allowing men to really stand up. But we want them to, I guess we want our guests to know that it's a safe space. So even you can talk about whatever it is, but I guess today we're getting intrigued by this fella's God, and we may have our beliefs, but I guess it's the God who is evident today as a lot of, I guess is what's going to be revealing it to a lot of people. Just in closing with regards to that question, my brother, like why would you say our people have gone away from, see, 51% is alarming, have gone away, because I think not too long ago, I don't know exact details, can our information team give me the details? I'm like, it wasn't even near 20% that had no religion, but it's 51%. Why is our people gone away from God? Or
yeah, I mean, you know,
religion?
if you talk about a God, there's always counter offensive, right? And there's bad energy. There's devil's real, bro. And you know, I think that we've been deceived. You know, I think evolution's a massive deception. You know, and they, you know, and the universities are all. This is where all this woke stuff's coming out of. This where it's all this, just this hate has been, you know, taught to our kids. You know, they're being indoctrinated in the universities, and evolution was the start of that. I mean, every great dictatorship has promoted evolution. You know, because if there's not an absolute authority, if you cancel out the absolute authority, it comes back to who's the next one in charge. If there's not a God, so the people don't believe in that, and they believe they answer to a higher power, who do they believe? They got the next best authority is the government.
Yeah.
So these guys that get into power and want to be absolute authority, they try and cancel out the option of God. So I think we've been deceived, man, big time. You know, and COVID for me was a real eye opener. You think the government, you think everybody's got your best interests at heart, and bro, you know, pretty obvious it's not the case, bro. So, you know, I was already convinced that God was real before COVID, but with the COVID thing and the way the government manipulated people and lied to people and pushed something on us for their gain, not for ours, you know, it just really opened my eyes to the deception that we've been under as, you know, government isn't always on our side, you know what I mean, and it goes, you know, for millennia back, you know what I mean, we've been pushed into a corner. They just want to, you know, they want to control us, they want us to pay their bills, they want to stay in control, and I think, I think that's key. I think that's a big thing, you know.
You went through some hard stuff during COVID, eh, brother?
Yeah, I just, mate, you know, like I've been talking about depopulation for 20 years, and then all of a sudden they've got an injection that's going to save my life. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense, bro. It just didn't make sense to me. Well, you know, you want to drop the number of people in the world, but now you've got an injection, and you want to force it on me because you love me.
For a bucket of KFC.
Hey, bro, you got to even give me a bucket of KFC as well. You know, me, bro. I just didn't believe that at all. You know, I just thought that was just fucking out the gate that people were signing. Honestly, I thought more people would just reject it, but there was an eye opener that a lot of people just closed their eyes and just jumped in. You know.
how fear and control they led to a lot of that.
Yeah.
Well, I guess just bringing this whole thing to a close, Steve. The team just showed us 15 minutes, and that's a quick, good conversation goes.
Yeah, bro.
You spoke most of the time, anyways. But
sorry, guys. Sorry, boys.
No, it's amazing. And that today, like, hey, you've been given the opportunity. Into our viewers, you've heard from Steve, upstanding man in our community, a leader in his right, and he's leading many other families just to be able to stand on their own integrity and mana. And it's our privilege today to have him and to hear from him. But the journey continues for us. But just in closing, brother, what is one thing that you want to leave with our people today? You know, if you had the opportunity, you had 1 million people in front of you, and you wanted them to leave with one thing, what would be that advice or word of wisdom that you would want to share to our people listening?
Just consider Christ, you know, have a look at the Bible, because there's a lot of things happening now that's beyond a fluke, you know. So many things are lining up. Hundreds of things have happened in the past that were said were going to happen. It's all going down as it should, as it's written. Man, you've got to consider it as it matters, you know. So I just believe, just open the Bible, pray, and just see where it leads you, man, because it's made a big difference in my life.
Beautiful, brother. Like our brother said, been awesome having you on set today.
Thanks for having us, boys.
And even to our followers out there, our people out there, if you're ever on the west side and looking at train, Steve Oliver's MMA gyms where it's at, brother. You've been there.
Yeah, I've been there.
You've lost 80 kgs.
And I got my gold belt there, but just in the edit. Yeah, just in closing, family, please, if you can, share this platform to those that need it. A lot of wisdom in this conversation. And our goal is still our goal. We're at week 4. About 100,000, 100K followers, and 1,000 kids person. If you're out there, I just want to give a shout out to Coffee Club. They are our sponsors for this venue and this space, and I think they're going to up it next week. They're going to start paying us towards 100K. But to shout out to Coffee Club, and shout out to all of those that have already supported this amazing journey. But from me to you, any last words from you?
Last words. This Saturday. This is probably going to come out on Friday, so tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Not yesterday, tomorrow.
We've got a special ride. Obviously, our brother Steve spoke about his father and how he lost him through prostate cancer, and so November's a very, I guess, focused month for our men, which inclines in prostate cancer, domestic violence. So tomorrow, Saturday, November the 1st, Life Behind Bars and Outsiders are collaborating on a ride. So that's Right to Survive, and just
join us,
join us on the ride. And I know that if it's not us that went through it, we have family members that have gone through something similar. So join us on this awesome cause. Support the cause, brother?
Support the cause. And West Auckland, I've been hearing about it all this session. West Auckland is our last Upright Man breakfast for 2025. And if you're out in the West, stay plugged to our socials, because we are configuring those dates and the venue. But it'll be great to finish out on the West with our biggest breakfast. We've had 100 men come to our breakfast on different circles. But Steve will be one of our special guests, you just heard right now. But also others that are out in West that will be champions of change. They will speak on Upright Man and how we can help our men be better. So West Auckland, we coming. So that's us, the outsiders. From us to you, to us, to everyone in the world.
The outsiders.
Thank you.
Shaboy.
Let's see.
Too much.
Machine, sir.